Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast for the 2015 Chang Qi Cup. I'm Cole Pruitt. This is my co-host, Will Lockhart, and we're delighted that you're here to listen to the broadcast that we have today. We have some truly historic matches from one of the strongest amateur fields ever assembled in North America.
That's right. Right outside those doors, we have the first world-class tournament matches ever held in the United States.
Right.
We have about 250 people here. Most of them are upstairs playing in an amateur tournament right now. We've got 17 professionals here.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, everybody.
Technical difficulties?
Bear with us for just one moment. Okay. As Will was saying, we have truly historic matches here from four of the world's top pros. These are top 25 in the world ranked players going on just a few feet that way. And we also have going on simultaneously an American tournament with over 200 players and some of the strongest amateur players ever in the U.S. So
We were supposed to start at 9. That didn't quite happen. Sorry for that. But we are now officially live, and we're going to be streaming all day today, all day tomorrow. We're going to have multiple pros here to help us understand these games. We're going to be switching between the amateur, the professional, doing commentary, interviewing people, all kinds of stuff. So tell your friends, tune in all weekend, and it should be good. Should we take a look at this ranking?
Yeah, let's take a look at the ranking. I'd also like to mention that this event is sponsored by the AGA, the ACGA, the Ing Foundation, and the Harvard Go Club, who's really helped us out. So this has been a joint effort from a lot of different people. We have a lot of players here who have made this happen. Plus, the 4 American pros, AGA certified pros, will be here giving commentary. So stay tuned for that. They'll be giving commentary on both the amateur and the professional games, starting in just a few minutes.
We already have 50 people on this stream. All right, let's do it.
That's right. So let's take a look at this ranking system.
Cool. So unfortunately, computer's here, camera's there.
That's okay.
It's gonna be a little awkward. So wait, can you pull up the Vince? Can you pull up the just the main page? So I just discovered this website. I think it came out this summer. I'm not quite sure. Remy Coulomb, who's he's a programmer, and he wrote Crazy Stone, which is one of the top AIs. And he released this website, I think this summer, which basically takes the GoForGo.net professional game records and applies an algorithm that's similar to the chess ratings. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but basically he produced his world rankings. So there doesn't actually exist an official world ranking for Go, and this isn't necessarily official, but it seems pretty legit, and it's pretty cool to see, and it's going to tell us a lot about what's going on just over there. So if you can see this, it looks like you can see this. So these are Remy's top players in the world, and we can see where our players stand. So in this Chang Qi Cup, this is a Chinese professional tournament. We've got the semifinals, so the top 4, and we have Tuo Jiaxi. Sorry if I'm butchering these names. So number 6 in the world according to this rank, Tuo Jiaxi. Lian Xiao, number 7. We've got Li Qincheng, number 11. And then, where is that guy?
Xu Jun, 23.
Xu Jun, I never know how to say that guy's name. Number 23 in the world down there. So these guys this is some serious Go we're going to be seeing here. Pretty much head and shoulders above the level of any game that's ever been played on the continent.
That's right.
So I think without further ado, let's get Chang Qi, the second certified AGA professional here, and he's going to walk us through this game so far.
Right, let's bring up this game, and the game has been progressing for about 2 hours now.
Yeah,
it's
so
just started about 2 hours. So
let's switch to the setup here, and I think I'm going to sit out for now, and I'll be back later.
Okay.
And Cole and Gansheng are going to take it away. So we've got, let's see if we can get this overhead going.
All right, looks great.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Gansheng, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
As we start our program. Okay. So these games have been going for about 2 hours, and if it was just me, you'd get a terrible commentary by a 1 or 2 Dan who really doesn't know what he's talking about. But fortunately, we have a very strong player with us today. Gansheng is going to walk us through some of these moves, and I'll be asking the silly questions that many of you may also have about this game. So we'll see if Gansheng can help us figure out what's going to go on. Okay, so let's go back to the start and just play it out. Or do we want to just fill it in from here? What do you think?
We can start from the beginning.
Okay, let's start from the beginning.
It'll take quite long.
Okay.
Who's who?
Excellent question. So white is Tuojia and Chujun 9P is playing black. He's an older but much more experienced player. And Tuojia is much younger but has rocketed to the world rankings, to very high in the world rankings recently.
Children is actually really well known for playing slowly, so he'll take as much time as possible.
Right, and he has a very strong end game, is what I understand, also because he takes so much
Yep.
time and really, really grinds it out.
I think he's also well known for carrying a life and death book around with him. So he's always practicing, even when he's not playing.
So this is pretty standard so far. I don't think there's too much to comment on this. What do you think?
This is, we all have seen the other Joseki, right? Where it's
right,
like
with
this.
That. Right. What's the difference between this guy and the other one?
The big difference here is with this here, once we see the variation later in the actual game, I think white, black played here.
Okay.
This is very comparable to the other Joseki. And black pushes. Whereas like this, normally white can live.
Right, can just come right under.
Yeah, so black normally wouldn't play this exchange because it's not very efficient. It makes white stronger.
Right, and then white still gets to live underneath.
Yep. So white gets to live. It's not very big, but white gets to live. Basically, that's the idea here. But also, since black has a move here, there's also Aji, but it's much less. I suppose white later could try some things like this.
It's complicated, I imagine.
Yeah, right now it's not a big concern, and they won't be playing here for a very long time.
Okay, so this is just going to remain for a while. I suppose if there's a ko later on, this will be this will be several ko threats in a row.
And we'll count that as black's territory right now.
Okay.
So I think black's going for a very territorial kind of style. Oh, and white actually played here.
Okay.
Is that what happened? Yeah. So since white played here, there's definitely much more Aji in there, but later on, there's also a cut. Are you sure white played here? Interesting.
The game says. But why is that? Why is that so interesting? That move as opposed to the other. Just because these two. This is
the
more
cut seems
problematic.
very, very.
It seems like this is more important of a cut than this is, right?
I think they played the other one. Do you want to check Taijian?
This is like an umpire call, and we're gonna review this with the referees.
Okay. Never mind.
Wow. Okay, so
That's very interesting.
a curious move here.
So right now, black can
Tuojia
actually choose to cut. White will probably have to connect.
Right. I can't imagine otherwise.
If black pushes out, there will be an immediate big fight here.
Right.
And personally, that's what I will probably do. But there's also a move here by
Right.
white, so this might be sente, and white can cut here.
Right.
So perhaps black does not look forward to this right now, and so black's gonna look to play elsewhere. This is a very big move. A lot of us will choose to play on this side, but
What makes that one bigger? Is it because we have this
because
this thickness here?
there's the weakness here kind of for
Right.
white. So this sort of indirectly helps the weakness on the left side.
Okay. I guess it makes this cut less desirable right now.
Yep. So now black plays here.
Okay.
There's lots of ways to play on this side, but
What's your preference?
since there's a stone here for white, black will usually avoid going too close to this side. Normally it's like this, right?
Right.
But black chose to move away so that the white's sort of thickness here is not that efficient.
That makes sense.
And also, since white's focused on this side, white will probably always play here. And black plays here, and white plays here.
Now, I'm going to pause you right here. My first temptation at this point, this move seems, of course, very reasonable. My first temptation is, well, he played this. He should be ready for me to play here something like this.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just not desirable because it's more complicated. But what makes his play here better to here, or is that the case?
This is a bit too over aggressive.
Okay.
Because if black just jumps, there's two moves that are miai for black.
Right.
So if white plays here, black can immediately capture the stone.
Right.
Even though white will sort of get a sente
And
here.
get some benefit, yeah. But white also now has to come back and worry about
Yeah,
that stone.
this is very thick for black actually, because these are all basically essentially sente.
Right,
so
right.
this became thickness for black. And
Okay, so
that's
better
it.
not. It's better to just leave it be for now.
Yeah. So
to try to do something.
you could see it as this. You know, if white plays here, these are all normal moves, but this would
You
be
wouldn't make that. It would be a
yeah.
crazy
This
move.
would be a terrible exchange.
Right. This is a good way to look at it.
So, I recommend if anyone wants to evaluate a situation, you can just change the sequence a bit,
Right.
and if any of the moves don't make sense,
You
it
can make
seems
those
like
exchanges at any time. Right.
yeah, it would seem like you made a bad move.
Right.
Now, I think a lot of players will attempt to play here
Right.
because we see that a lot. But also, at this moment, it's not very effective.
This makes this area much bigger too.
Yep.
White's very excited to play there next.
This will be sente, and if this is exchanged, white gets to play on the
Right.
bottom, which is very, very big.
And that's. I mean, it's especially big because this is here now. So.
Yep. So, and also black. Technically, black doesn't have to play here immediately. This shape is considered safe for black.
So this is lighted. You can just okay.
Yeah, because if white invades, black can just play here.
Right. So we still have these forcing moves that can keep black
Yeah,
in good shape.
and now white has to pick a side to play. So this is okay, but now black played here to escape and perhaps look to play on the bottom later.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this. Okay. So this is good.
Yep.
And now it makes sense after strengthening this. White needs something over here to.
White probably should play here
Mm-hmm.
because even though the side is very big, if white plays here, this move is very, very
Right, and it helps black so much to be able to get that. That really, I don't know.
yeah. There's a lot of influence in the center that's very
Right.
important.
Now this cut is more. It feels like is more dangerous with that move. Whereas if white gets that instead,
Yep.
now it seems crazy for black to want to try to do this now.
hmm And there's a huge influence here.
Right,
I mean, white should be focused on developing
right.
his moyo.
Because
here.
this area, okay, black takes here, white still has the corner. So
Right. White can always play here too. live in
right,
the
right.
corner.
There's no problem with that.
So
Okay, I buy that. Good.
now black also realizes that the bottom is kind of small. Because if black just plays here, white can just live here. It's not a big deal. These two moves. And also, this move is not very big because white has stones here. So there's not much moyo to expand.
Right, it's hard for. Yeah, makes sense. This is hard for black to expand and make much territory in the middle.
Yep. So at this point, we have lots of choices to invade. We can also keep in mind that
I know where I will play if it's me,
Mhm.
because I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I'll play here first and see what happens.
it's a good way to start. We kind of call these moves like probing moves,
Right.
to see what white responds with. But right now at this moment, there's probably not much. If white wants to capture, white can play in the corner.
Right.
And if black happens to play here, this would be a very difficult.
Right. This is not an easy fight.
Yeah. There's also a call here that everyone probably knows.
I doubt everyone know. I don't know. Show me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's this co. This co.
Yeah.
I can. Yes.
This ko is
Well, we should show it anyway for the benefit of
it's to push here.
everybody. Right.
But
And
I
then
mean,
get this.
with this ko right here, white doesn't really have to worry. I think, because if white plays the ko right now, even though this is very big, if white responds and black takes, white also happens to have some ko threats,
Yeah. Let's
right?
not forget about this corner also, which is gigantic.
Which is very huge, right?
Right.
Even if black takes, white still has the influence.
Right.
So right now, it's not a good time for black to play.
And starting this fight maybe isn't the best time either for
Yeah.
So this will be a liability for black if black has to start.
So
this.
basically, only this will be the ko threat.
Okay.
Oh, it is, yeah. So I think they did make a mistake, right? Yeah. So
I see. Okay.
white did play here as I expected, because this seems pretty
Right. This cut.
aggressive. to me.
This. Why are you trying to save this stone as opposed to this cut? Is very painful if these get
Yeah.
separated. So that that does make sense.
now we move back here. Now that's out of the way.
Okay.
Black needs to look for an approach here again.
Agreed. So let's pause right here. So the game's been going on for a while. We're starting to get closer to to where we're not quite up to live again. What's your appraisal of the game right now? Where do you think we stand? Is it still dead even? Who would you prefer to play? I'll put it that way.
The game is probably dead even, but personally, I prefer to play black.
Just because of the territory that we have over here and over here? Okay.
I think territory is more preferred by pro players these
Sure.
days because it's very hard to kill.
Right.
And there's a lot less pressure as the one who is trying to live and trying to find something, because you can always sacrifice, you can reduce, but as white or in the killing person, you always have to try your best and spend a lot of time so that you don't make a single mistake, because there's a lot less pressure as the person was trying to invade and live.
That makes sense.
Because it's already basically their territory. You're just trying to make something happen. If something does happen, good for you, right?
Right. And just as a reminder, for those tuning in late, so we're here at the 2015 Chang Qi Cup. We're looking at one of the professional semifinals matches. This is between Tuo Jiaxi and Chujun. Chujun taking black, Tuo Jiaxi is white. And the game started about 10 a.m., so we're about 2 hours in here on the East Coast. We're starting to get into the fighting pretty soon, and we'll be live within, I think, not too many more moves. So let's see. We're starting to get into the fighting, I believe.
Yeah.
I think this next move.
So I think because the bottom side is very small, the only thing that's left on the board that's big right now would be the top side. Because if white manages to make all that territory, black definitely does not have enough.
Right.
We can make a basic count right now. We can consider about 12 points in this corner, and perhaps 25 points in that corner, and maybe 5 points here. So if we add that all together, black probably has 40 to 45 points. Whereas white, if white simply just captures this whole corner, it will be more than 50 to 60 points, right? So black definitely needs to reduce.
And I will say, as a weaker player, it's fascinating to me. My immediate gut instinct is just, oh, look, this is the largest side. Like this, it feels, I have. It's like I'm possessed to come and play something over here because it seems like it's one of the last big moves of the opening. But you make a good point that because this corner is still open, these are very similar, and so it's not as large as you think.
I mean, well, we've always been told, and we have also looked at we consider them quite, old games now.
Right.
That we just play the sides out, and then everybody takes the center.
Right.
But the truth here is white is obviously looking at something much bigger, and white has focused on the influence the whole game. So that is whatever your opponent's aim is, you should always prevent that. Right.
So it's not to say this area isn't big in the abstract. Of course, it's a lot of space, but it's a battle of wills. It takes more precedence. So the urgency of this top area is really what we should be focused on.
And so, as white, because you have started off with more of an influence style in the opening, you should always continue. You can't just there's a saying in Go that you can't escape from the battlefield, and the battlefield has always been on this side.
Okay.
So you can't just go somewhere else and do your own thing, right?
Okay. Well, I guess I would make a poor soldier. The wrong battlefield. Anyway, let's keep going here. It looks like the battle's about to start up on this top side, just as you say.
White is very committed, and now black needs to invade.
Okay.
There's lots of ways. Personally, like Cole said, invading here would be a good probing move, but black doesn't see a really immediate follow-up. That's very good.
Right.
You could see that this move probably does not work. White can just force a kind of a capture here. Black wouldn't be able to really do much and make a base.
Well, let me remind you, I'm only 1 or 2 down, so I tend to think 1 or maybe sometimes 2 or even 3 moves ahead. So this is very true that over here.
But we can always keep in mind of there's a lots of RG here.
Right.
So things like this later on will be RG because black can play something like this afterwards. Moves like here are very painful for white because there's a cold there, like I said, right? We can also look at so whenever we try to sort of invade a moil. We can choose to attack deep or attack from the top. That's more of like a reduction as compared to an invasion. So if we just reduce, some players might choose, might think it's too dangerous to invade and approach from the top. But in this situation, there's not really a good way to reduce from the top side. Because if you do reduce from somewhere like here, first of all, you have no base.
And white will just solidify some of this territory.
White can either solidify or white can just cap you in, right? And that makes the stone very, very dangerous.
Right. This reduction is going to turn into a weak group that you have to deal with.
So, because black has stones here already, it's best to invade or reduce from where you have sort of support. So black chooses to invade here because black has support.
And this is a similar idea to over here. You have this connection underneath, so you have some logic here.
So the connection here is always important. So if white decides to just stop black from escaping, black has a lot more room to work with now because black already has a stone here.
Right. Now it's playing over here something, okay, it's not so ridiculous because you already have this stone.
And if we look here, this is the weakest stone here for white. So if we look at this space locally, it almost seems as if white is being attacked.
Right.
So this is probably the best approach that black should do right here.
And I'd also, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as though if white tries to then cut off this escape route, something like this, this has very little effect on black's setup over here. If this had a larger impact on the corner, then it would be much less desirable because white can play this, and now this is much bigger here. But this is already fairly, it doesn't really affect that much. So it's like you're getting something but not having to pay very much for it in the first place, I guess.
So this will be like kind of, white is just banking on killing black.
Right. This move says you're going to die and I'm going to win right here.
Yeah, but of course this is very, very dangerous. Right. And I think most strong players wouldn't choose something so risky, especially so early on in the game.
Right. Tuo Shi is much smarter than my first intention.
And so our first instinct here for most players would be to play here.
Right.
And that actually is probably the correct move. When we attack a group, it is always, pretty much always, a bad habit to try and attach to the stone you're attacking.
Oh yeah. This is
So something like this, players might think of, because they might think, this stone needs to escape, so I'm going to attach here, because it's a very common move. But in reality, when you do things like this, you're helping your opponent make shape.
Note for all of you 8 to 10 Qs out there who this is really important. It's a situation, as Gansheng is demonstrating here, you kind of have to look at this situation as you're attacking black because look at all the strength you have over here. If you try to treat this as I need to get out and make my own white stone safe, then well, this is what happens. Black gets the base that black wants.
And white. So normally, perhaps if hypothetical situation where all this was white's weak stones, perhaps this would be a good choice. But in this situation, when we're trying to attack, it's best to not give black space to work with.
Okay.
When you're trying to invade, you're always trying to get close to the stones. So you can have lots of Aji, you have lots of Ataris. When you get close, the liberties are very tight. You have lots of Aji for you to work with. But here, white just gives black, some space, but black can't just do much. If black just escapes, he has to sort of surround his own base and make his own base, and that's very inefficient. So white is basically saying here, I'll let you escape. If you want to escape like this, white is fine with that, and white will simply play here. And suppose some players would be okay with it. Say this is what happened. Black also happens to have Aji here.
Right, this doesn't seem ridiculous.
Yeah, this will be a possible choice for black. But the thing is with top pro play, there is something we call sort of the attitude, right? You should never let your opponent get what he wants.
Well, Tuo Shi definitely has an attitude. We've seen that today already, so.
Yeah. So if black is saying, I'll let you do this, if white is saying, I'll let you escape, I'll give you some. Right. Black would definitely not let white have what he wants. Okay. So black is looking to, counterattack. So there's lots of ways to counterattack. But when you're the weak group, like I said, you should always try to use your opponent's weakness to make space for yourself. So if you just escape very boringly,
Sure.
white can just simply attack. Black does not have really good shape here. And so this wouldn't be ideal. Plus, if black plays here, white would definitely cut off the path now. Now I think this group is looking fairly
It's rather
in
sick.
danger. Yep. So black should always look to, get help from white.
Right. And as you said before, if it's bad for white to attach, maybe it's not so bad for black to attach and get the same result. So
there's lots of ways to attach here. Perhaps you could attach here.
Right, this comes to mind.
But keep in mind, attaching here only helps white here, right? You're helping.
Yeah, and this is already, it's almost inefficient here because this stone is here.
Yep.
That's exactly where white doesn't want to strengthen. So this makes sense.
So if we play here, we're kind of strengthening the corner.
Right.
Even though
now that
black can escape.
Now that corner Raji with the ko is gone.
Yeah. White has solidified almost
Right.
30 points here then.
Right.
So you don't want to do that. So, and you don't want to probably the only move would be to attach here.
Right. And this makes sense because black is trying to build some strength because the corner still does have potential.
Yep.
So.
Of course, white can't let black have this. This is way too big.
Right, that's too much.
So you have to hane.
Uh-huh.
And right here, black has two options. Black has three options. Black can escape back to his base.
Which now, because you pushed out, it's much more reasonable to do that.
The other option is for black to live locally, and the third option will be to escape into the center.
Right.
In normal situations, we almost always want to escape into the center.
That's true. Then you don't have to live there. Sadly, white doesn't get all the thickness that would normally have been got.
Because usually when we escape, it's usually like a dame connection is what we call. There's no points involved.
Those are the times when someone escapes out of your moyo into the center. You're like, well, I kind of got nothing. I should have gone for the territory at the beginning. So that makes sense.
So black is trying to escape in the center. If white simply tries to block off the territory here and let black escape,
too easy.
It's way too easy. And also, this is not much territory. White should be looking at attacking to make territory,
right?
And not just simply giving up. So white should block off black from escaping.
Absolutely.
And perhaps try to force black to live locally. Because when you're forced to live locally, you usually end up with 2 points.
Right, and white gets all the thickness and sente somewhere else.
Yep.
So that's a nice result.
And if your opponent makes a mistake, they might just die here, right?
Right. Well, we can always hope for that. I hope that Chujun doesn't make it that easy, but we'll see.
So there's a small difference between extending.
This is a perfect thing to talk about because it's so hard to know. Do you jump? There's such a big difference at the end of the game, but they seem so similar. So let's look at those.
Jump is sort of like an inviting move, right? It's inviting white to play here because why would you not play here? But in this situation, we can clearly tell that it's not so good because if white plays here, it simply helps black.
Okay, well, it seems that the fighting has started here. I think a stronger player is needed to give some better commentary on this. So I'm going to swap back out for my co-host Will, who's going to jump in for me, and we'll be back later with a little bit more broadcasting. But Gansheng will continue just as the fighting is starting here, so excuse me.
Okay.
All right. We're back. How's it going?
It's pretty good, Will. How are you?
Good. How's this game? What do you think?
So right now we're just in a situation where black is trying to invade and white is just simply trying to profit from this attack, I think.
Who, for those of you just joining us, because I don't think it says it. Yeah, it's not. We don't have the names up there. So which game is this?
This game is played between Tojiashi and Chojun, and they're both very strong players, playing in the top league in China. And so we can expect a very exciting game, and it'll be a very difficult game to understand. And personally for me also, because they're also much stronger than me. And so we're just trying to dissect their ideas here.
Yeah, no doubt. Is this game... So can you... I have a question. Like, when you see a game like this, can you immediately tell that this is like world class Go? You know what I mean? Can you tell like that these are top players, or is it harder to know like this could be like, could this be your game? You know, no offense.
To be exact, many of the top pro games here in the world right now, there's no pattern, because Go has evolved so much into a game that's purely reading, whereas the classic Go patterns that you see and the shapes, sometimes they're abandoned.
Sure.
Because when we really read the shapes out, sometimes they may not be good for a certain situation. So you may see pros play very terrible shapes,
right,
but they're very practical moves.
Right. So basically, it's more like, unless you can read as well as they can, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So
fair enough.
sometimes you may even say, oh, like I get this reaction all the time from me and even the other pros.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at a game and we'll be like, what are they playing? Right? It doesn't make sense. It looks like a terrible shape, but then you really have to read out what they're trying to do here.
Right.
And for them, their sole goal in the game is just to win. They don't really care about the shape.
No doubt. So let's catch up with live, and I think we're gonna have Ganxing's gonna switch off when we get up to live and we run out of steam here. We're gonna have Steven Palazzola, AGA Wondan, joining us next to look at the amateur tournament. So that'll be coming up in 10 minutes or so. Where are we at with this? What's going on here?
I was just explaining of the difference between extending here and the jump.
Right. Yeah, I overheard Cole ask that question. I feel like this is like one of those shape questions that like maybe everyone, but certainly mid-dons as myself often struggle with and kind of are never totally confident.
Well, to put it in the simplest terms, to play here for black means white is forced to play another move. If white doesn't play, this is immediately a great shape. So this is sort of like a forcing move. It forces white to extend.
Right, has a bigger follow-up.
So normally black is like this, and when you're black, you're trying to make yourself as strong as possible. So you're trying to make as many exchanges that are beneficial for you. So an exchange like this will be beneficial for you because you get more space to work with and you're stronger here. So if you just play like this, white might not play here, because if white plays here, it's reducing white's own territory.
Right.
So this is just basically a great way for black to extend, to almost extract more profit here by reducing white.
So here you got the wedge, and that's going to weaken black shape. But this basically the extension is good because white doesn't want to keep pushing.
Yes. So you're forcing white to push, and the wedge is almost certainly bad because it simply just helps black reduce much more of white's territory. So let's go into the more fun parts of this game now. So now, let me ask you a question. What would you do if you didn't know what to play? We all have those situations where we're stuck in a situation.
I definitely don't know where to play, but what would I play? So this is white's turn here.
So the scenario here for white is black looks very solid. I kind of want to kill black, but I think
Right.
black can probably live. So what do I do here?
So if I was on KGS, I think I'd play here and try to kill. But when you ask it that way, like I wonder if maybe something a little like just calmer like this, take the territory, keep him weak and hope to profit more later. Yeah, might be better.
This could be possible. Like I said, you could try to kill here and block him off.
Right.
Connecting.
That also this occurs to me kind of immediately, but then I think if he tries to connect under, I can keep it separated. So maybe that doesn't work because he could play here, right? Like black, white, black. So actually, maybe this seems natural then to block off, and there's like a lot of endgame there too, right?
But like I said, it's very frustrating for white because if black manages to live, maybe somewhere in your territory, you have lost everything, right? So right now, white is almost certainly does not know the correct move in this situation.
And white, when white is toward
white is toward Jashi. So when you're on the attacking and your opponent has sort of sorted this group out quite nicely, you probably need to look elsewhere for sort of a motivation, I would say. And since black's group here is quite settled, we can look on the board for another weak group that black has. These exchanges made black thick in there.
I see. So black's weak, but white, there's not like a clear way to attack. It's not sure which direction to push from. It's kind of a direction of play problem, but you don't know what to do. So are you saying maybe that?
Since there's 3 stones here, that does not look very settled, we can always look for a motivation here. Perhaps.
Wait, is that the move?
Very close. White actually played here.
No, I know that. I'm seeing it on the screen over there. Look at that. That's wild.
Yep. So the idea here is, if something does happen here, like a ko here will certainly be bad for black, right? Because this is not alive. Sure. If white gets 2 moves here, this group is certainly dead.
Right. So when you see a move like this, like do you actually think like, ooh, that looks like that could lead to a ko just because it's like complicated, or
it just means black cannot play a ko.
Okay, so black's options are a little more limited.
Yeah. Right. So when black's options are limited, you could play really aggressive moves. If there's it's
crazy how often like Aji of ko appears in these high level games. Like how often it's kind of under the surface like that.
Ko usually can sometimes determine a game, right? If we have a super big ko, I'm just playing around here. Something like this. If the ko ended up for something like this, normally it'll be very big for the player who wins the ko. But in this situation, it doesn't matter at all, because if that dies, black can never have that happen. So white can choose to be very, very aggressive here. Black has very limited options. And this is what we call sort of indirectly benefiting from your thickness here, right? Normally, we can't do anything with this to attack that group yet. But if we use that thickness...
Cool. So let's see what happens.
Here.
So that one...
So black doesn't have many options.
Prevent the connect under. Oh, it's all good. Okay, then
and white already has benefited from this group attack, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And then look at that. What is that? This one? Yeah. Interesting.
Locally, there is a push, but there's not much you could do. We could just sort of play this out. White can actually escape here. Because this is a sente, white can escape. So locally, black is captured here, but there's also a lot of aji left.
Yeah, sure.
And black played this move instead of here, so black can invade, right?
Right.
So black is going to look for some profit here because he lost something here.
Cool. Here we go. Here we go. Separate.
Yep.
Separate the weak groups. That makes sense.
Some of us might be tempted to just make territory, but if black connects, this group becomes weak, right? And black sort of connects his whole group so that, black does not have weaknesses anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. This is like handicap 101, right? This is like, don't just take the territory.
Separate them.
In this case, black, but in handicap games, keep white separated, keep the pressure. You're gonna get benefit in the long run. Have faith, but don't just take it.
And also, black can't just be greedy and just take the territory, right? This is most definitely what white wants. Since this is weak, I can just focus on attack.
Now I'm just gonna destroy this.
So black chooses to play here, and again, we just can't be greedy all the time. Oh, some of us might want to play here, but there's probably a weak cut here. So you always have to look around and see. You can't just be attracted by a immediate.
And then this one, yeah. Keep the pressure.
Now black tries to.
So I have a question. I think that this is something I feel like people talk about a lot, but no one really knows or has a good sense. Like in this kind of middle, I assume this kind of middle game fighting, right? Like when you have a wedge like this, you've got all this weak group, all this reading to do. Like how much reading are these guys doing?
This is where they spend most of their time, actually.
Can you quantify? Is there a way to quantify? Roughly are they reading 10, 15 moves, 30 moves? Are they reading 20 sequences, 100 sequences? How crazy are these people? Because I remember, do you know Lisa Dole's recent book?
Yeah.
The 2-volume book where he does game review and it's it's going along. It's here's my game, blah blah blah, makes sense. And then every once in a while he's just yeah. And then I also thought about this, and it's just a 35 move read that ends in a double ko for Seki. And he's I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So what in your based on your understanding, give me a sense of what these guys are doing over there when they see a middle game situation.
Just to let you know, sort of a rough idea would be when we do life and death, in that situation, a lot of us can read, right? We can sort of see, oh, I can read 10 moves.
Right.
But for that to happen, so before the life and death happens, the pro has already read all that.
Right.
So when the life and death happens, it's already too late.
Right.
They
already know
Yeah.
what's happening.
At that point, the game will be over because you either live or you die, right? So both players they will have read all that so they can avoid being the one that's captured. So here we don't know, right? But once maybe 10 moves later, if we have a variation that black dies, black will most definitely avoid it. And black would have read all that out by now because at that point you would have lost the game.
For sure. You heard it here, folks. It's all about reading.
Yeah.
Read. Do life and death. Read. Don't die. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. For beginners and amateurs, the best thing you can do is life and death. And because reading is just, at this point, the best way to improve your
sucks.
game.
Did you do, so you're an 8 dan, 9 dan, something like that.
Yep.
Did you and people even ask me this, I'm like AGA 5, but especially for someone like you, people probably always ask you, right, like how do you get good, right? Like how do you get to that level? Like
do life and death,
a coherent
guys.
answer? Like did you just cram life and death nonstop?
It's the essential. If
Right,
you want to improve,
do the work.
The only way you improve is life and death at this point. And also pros, for them, they just do life and death. I mean, you can study another opponent's players' moves, their games, but if you're just better at reading than them, or if they just read, 2 moves ahead of you, you're done, right?
All right.
So that's all that matters.
Cool. Let's. How far is the game? Are we close to live?
We're close to live.
Close to live. Let's see what's up.
So here, black has to connect.
Uh-huh.
So black sort of thinks he can live.
Okay, so this is the kind of read, right, where he's got to know if this is going to live, right?
Yeah.
Because if this dies, it's game over. So.
And white also needs to know, right?
Of course, right.
If white tries to kill and black lives,
right. So this is the middle game, and these guys, I mean, these are, I don't know, I haven't been watching the live feed, but this is probably I imagine a lot of these moves 5, 10, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. They're probably spending on this right here.
Because it's such a big game. Both players wouldn't choose very, very risky moves unless they're certain. So white most definitely wouldn't just jump here and try to kill because that's very risky. And so it's sort of kind of about probability, right? If I have a high chance of killing it, I'll probably try to kill it. But here, it's not.
It's funny how even in a perfect information game when it's humans playing, right, and they're they have imperfect information what they're understanding what's going on. There still is this probability factor of how risky do I play, right? Like how it's almost it becomes probabilities enter it even though there's no luck technically. So it's interesting. Okay, so he's going to live with this group.
So white is also trying to make a compromise here. Black
interesting. So I noticed. So I would immediately just Hane. Yep. But I noticed he omitted, so maybe he wants to Atari, maybe he's not sure what he wants to do.
I think black is focusing on escaping here. Because later on, black can just escape like this, and that'll be fairly big.
Sure.
Even though black can live in the corner, if white cuts here, this group is almost certainly
Well, but
under
if I push here, white can just separate now,
Oh,
right?
if white separates now, most certainly there's a...
Okay, so I don't want to lose that Aji because
Yeah.
if I get more liberties out here, I could fight differently.
So this is sort of like a sente move for white to respond in the corner.
Right. Okay, so now
white has to respond.
Oh, okay.
And now black
and then he's out.
plays here. This is a very important move because it helps this group here.
Right.
If black didn't have this move, if black just plays here, black might be captured. So pros have already read this move. They know that they won't die if they play here. This group won't be captured.
As opposed, just literally the difference between this move and this move affecting the ability for this group to live. They've read it out. They've done 20 times 30 moves.
They're always walking on the ropes, So they got to be very careful, and they have to read everything out. And the game has progressed very fast from the beginning until this point, where they're spending most of their time. This is where they will spend most of their time.
That makes sense. That's something Ming Yin, a Chinese professional who's with us, who's going to jump on later today, I think, or maybe tomorrow. She always told me, her biggest advice especially for winning tournaments, but just in general, was spend your time in the middle game. Opening doesn't matter. Endgame doesn't like none of those. You know, the middle game is where one move and you throw the game away. So like,
And
you should spend. And so it sounds like that's kind of what these guys do, right? They really spend all their time
to give you,
stage.
some helpful thing advice, I would just say, they always tell us to memorize the josekis, right? But things like that are not very useful now because not everyone plays josekis, and a lot of josekis now are outdated.
Yeah.
And so what you should focus on is just life and death. You should just read.
Right.
So
it's all brute force. All right, so the peep, and then looks like the block. Yeah, you got it.
Blocks.
Keep them separated again.
So now.
Oh wow! So look at this. So there's just so much reading underneath
Yeah.
all these moves, right? So he does this, the block, and now that makes this group.
Yeah. So
forces
black
this
has to
group
live.
to live. Yeah,
So
exactly.
if white chooses to block here,
Right,
black
then-
can probably escape.
Right.
So black's not worried. So white blocks here because there's more aji here later.
Gotcha. Right, and then the connect, and then this. So this move, and it's all about pushing to the limit, right?
Yep.
It's like instead of connecting under, I'm just gonna get one more little exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can follow up here later, like couple more points, squeeze it out. Awesome.
And this is also a very good move because this is later on sort of like
right.
sensei.
Oh, it looks like, is that the live or is that our variation? Oops. Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So here,
Yeah, so right.
some of us might play here.
Uh-huh.
That's very simple. You can also live, right?
Right. Sure.
If you play here, you can just jump and connect.
Oh yeah, it's some crude
But
stuff.
for pros, they want to maximize
Right.
every single profit. So they'll play here. And this is very aggressive because white can't almost immediately play here.
Right. Then at least I get my shape here, right?
Yep.
And then Atari. Not Atari. Why not Atari?
And if white Ataris, there's a double
Oh,
Atari
double.
here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, of course.
Of
right.
course.
It's double Atari here, so you gotta.
So that's the
gotta
only
connect.
move, right?
Yep.
And black locally can't actually capture. Since there's almost a perfect move here. And black cannot capture the 3
Ooh.
stones, right?
Yes.
So here, instead of that, black just extends and lives.
Right.
So black maximizes his profit by living with more points.
Oh, and now I can do this, right? Now this ladder works.
Yes.
Now I got the Aji there, so white has to defend somehow, right? Or
Well,
no, I
white
guess-
doesn't have to defend right away.
doesn't have to defend, but there's
Yeah,
there's a
there's
threat.
more
Yeah.
urgent moves here. White
So
blocks.
we're almost up to the live game.
See, without this exchange, if I play this now, obviously white just blocks here. So this
yes.
exchange allows black to live.
Right.
So black first place here. Are we live?
Oh,
I think we're live
we're
now.
live. Okay.
So some of you, I'll give you a problem and you can try to read what happens. Obviously, the most immediate thing we see is that if black connects here, if white plays here, black will cut here, and white.
Group exchange.
Yep, and white will capture this. If we don't capture, some of you may not know, there's a forced ko here, which is very interesting. And then white, if white doesn't play the ko, black can almost certainly force a ko here.
Right.
So there's a ko here, and if white captures, I think white can capture like this. But
Ooh, that's again just maximizing that
Yeah.
profit, right?
so if this happens, I would still say now you have to evaluate the game and see who's ahead, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
But
So do you think this exchange is likely, this group exchange, or do you think white's just going to connect here?
I mean, if you look at the other variation, if white connects, black is to push
Another
here.
cut, right? Yeah.
If we look at this,
Right. I got it.
White's
White's dead, right? Yeah, white's dead.
uh,
Or is there some 9 done shit there?
we can look at what happens, right?
Can I play here? Oh, I don't have enough liberties up there.
No, there's actually a very. If we just look at the Liberty fight, it's a pro probably read this out already. But most definitely,
This is crazy.
in this Liberty fight, white would die. That's the
I believe
conclusion.
you.
So here, if white dies,
Yeah.
that's most definitely not what you want because you're just basically sacrificing.
Right.
So what likely happens, I think, will be an exchange. So black will capture here, white will capture this group here.
Cool.
And now,
So what do you think? So for those of you just joining us, this is one of the 2 Chang Qi semifinal games here at the 2015 Chang Qi Cup. We have Tuo Jiaxi is white.
yep,
And who's black?
black is Chojun.
Zhou Juan. So both top players in China. This is the first game of the best of 3 semifinals, right down the hall. And what do you think? So suppose this exchange happens, then what do you think about it?
There's
What
also a
would it be
move
like?
here, right? Like we said earlier.
Right.
That's very big. If this exchange happens, I think I would prefer black because this is very big, and also these 2 stones would be very weak. So if black chooses to sort of attack,
Cool. So you felt like black
Yeah.
is maybe like a little bit more comfortable
Yep.
throughout the game.
because it's very difficult to attack.
Right. And this is, so I keep forgetting, this is Cho, how do you say his name?
Chojun.
Cho Juan?
Yep,
Something like that.
that's pretty good.
Okay, cool. So we were taking bets earlier. I was betting on Tuo Jiaxi just because according to that rank he was number 6 in the world, which is nuts. And he's a little younger. Seems like he's maybe in his
Yeah.
prime, and Cho Juan is maybe a little past his prime.
Chojun is well known for getting sort of second in tournaments. He has a lot of world. We call these world championship tournaments,
Right.
and world tournaments. Basically, he always places second in a lot of them. But he's also very, very strong, and the strongest part, I think, of Chojun would be his reading. Even though he's much older,
He's just got a knack for it. Yeah, for sure. So, all right. So maybe the old guard can hold it down. I think we're going to transition, look at some other games. Do you have any other final thoughts on this? And this game is going to be. So, by the way, the time settings for these games are 3 hours each side, and then there's a convoluted overtime system that Ing tournaments use. Some would call it a bastardization of the game, but
I think it's if you go over time, you're allowed 30 more minutes at the expense of 2 points.
yeah. So
one
to me, that brings time management. That brings time management way too close to the strategy of the game, and it just seems crazy. But in any case, the bottom line is these are long games, so we're expecting at least a couple more hours.
And
from
Chiu Jing is well known for being the slowest Go player in China. And so this game probably won't finish until he's used all 3.5 hours of his time, at least.
All right, so settle in, you guys. We're in for the long haul. All right, Gansheng Shi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back with you probably sometime tomorrow.
Okay, that's great.
All right, next up, we're gonna have, which one of you, who wants to go? All right, we've got Devin Fraze, AGA 1Q, recently known for his appearance on US Go as what is that, the Why We Play blog?
Oh yeah, I made it on the eJournal recently.
Nice. You can make it on the eJournal too someday, I guess.
Well, I think you do it.
How you doing,
first.
man? What do you think of the event? What's been going on?
Oh, this is exciting. It's a lot of energy here, and that's an exciting noise too.
This just in, I don't know what the hell that is. I have no idea what that is.
Well, maybe one day in the future we'll actually
Somebody's phone.
have scheduled
Having technical
cool music to
difficulties
come
here.
on.
Yeah.
So the event, it seems like a lot of energy. I mean, how many people? It's 200
I
something.
think it's like 250, which is
250.
more than we. I think we're expecting, like I think we have like close to 250 players plus a whole delegation. You know, there's these guys competing, and then there's also like a huge delegation of other pros, commentators. They've got reporters from China. It's quite a scene. So
Well, and I feel like I'm getting better just through osmosis.
right,
Just being in
exactly.
this-
I remember feeling that way with the first time I went to the Go Congress. Right, you just like you're in a room with 300 people, like you can just nerd out like with no inhibition, right?
Exactly. Well, and I also know that I'm getting better because I'm losing so much.
Right, exactly. There you go. So
Yeah.
let's pull up. What should we look at? So is there an amateur game still going on, or should we check out the other pro game? All right, Ben's going to find that out. Meanwhile, we didn't give you a proper introduction. This is Devin Fraze. So let's do what we're going to do for all our commentators. How did you get into Go?
Great. Well, I got into Go. I was at a humanist game night.
Steven, give him a sandwich. Thank you.
And thought that. Thank you very much. I was at a humanist game night and saw the game. I played Othello as a young kid.
Okay,
and being one of those wonderful, ignorant people that walks up and goes, "Oh, yeah, I know that game. It's Othello, right?" The guy humored me and said, "Sure, yeah." And we had a match.
Yeah.
Whereupon, the second move, I realized, oh, this is not Othello. But my mathematical background perhaps kind of excited me about Go and started playing more. And this is exactly the right time in my life because I started riding my bicycle.
Yeah, you've done a lot of
country.
traveling the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. I'm somewhat of a travel junkie now. And sort of settled down in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I am. Shout out to my Go Club back home. Hey, guys. But that's how I met you. I think it actually was.
When did we meet?
We met in Boston at one of these events. At Harvard.
Yeah, right. 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I had read your dad's paper and was a big fan. And so I was kind of
Mathematician's Lament, Paul Lockhart. Check it out.
Check it out. PDF's free online, and you can download. You can actually, of course, go buy the book.
Gotta make the plugs.
Gotta make the plugs. Yeah, just check it out. Came out with the new book measurement too. I'll sell that one. That's high quality. His stuff is. Your dad's stuff is amazing.
Thank you.
So when I heard Will Lockhart, I'm like, oh wait, I know this name. How do I know this name? So.
All right.
But it's been good to be friends.
So anyway, so you're playing the tournament?
Yeah, I played. Played one game so far. Actually, no, I've played two now. I played a Simul against a pro.
Oh, sweet. Which one?
That's a great question. I was just
one
told
of them.
One
There's
of
so
them.
many.
He's so strong too.
It's crazy.
It's always amazing.
As we said before, if you're part of the American Go Association, you live on the East Coast, and you missed this event, you fucked up because this is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta. But we're gonna do more events like this, right?
I hope that this is again this is kind of unprecedented. We've got these pro matches for you guys just tuning in. We have the semifinals of the Chang Qi Professional Go Tournament. This is a Chinese professional tournament, and there's down to 4 players semifinals. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be playing a best of 3. Either each playing best of 3 matches over the weekend. And the first games are underway. They're started this morning, and these are going to be like 6 or 7 hour, games they're really like far and away a higher level Go than we've ever seen outside of East Asia. Yeah. To be frank, these are top 10, top 20 players in the world, and very excited. So yeah, I hope this leads to more thing. I think the future's bright. So are we checking out the amateur games, or I think let's tune in. So also there is going to be live commentary here that we're going to stream a video feed of. AJ Professionals Ryan Lee and Calvin Sun are going to tag team one of these Chang Qi games. Hopefully not the one we just looked at for an hour, but we'll see. And then the other one will be some other pros doing that. So we're going to stream that whenever they tell me that it started. So maybe 20 minutes or something. But meanwhile, let's take a look at this amateur tournament.
Who's playing?
Do we have the bracket? We don't have the bracket, no. I meant okay. Anyway, this amateur tournament, we've got about 250 players. This might be the strongest amateur field I've ever seen. Yeah. And maybe the strongest amateur field ever in the U.S. Only the Go Congress could compete. We've got a lot of the top. So for you guys who are AGA savvy, you follow some of our top players. We've got Eric Louis, Bill Lin, Michael Chen, Ben Lockhart,
your brother,
my brother, and then we've got 3 Insei from Korea. Really? Who I'm kind of hoping don't just sweep the field and crush everybody, but it's possible. We'll have to find out. Yeah. I think one of them just took Bill Lin and just smashed his face into the ground. But
we want to have American pride.
Let's check that out. Let's watch if we can. Let's see if we can watch board 1 of the amateur tournament. Bill Lin against this top-seeded Korean Insei. No one knows exactly how strong this guy is, but if it's any indication, I heard that Bill Lin lost very fast. So we will see. Anyway, ridiculous field, 4 rounds, and there's going to be tomorrow afternoon the championship of that amateur tournament, $4,000 top prize. So very psyched about that. Yeah. Great. Is that up? All right, just let us know when that is when that is good. So what's the vibe out there?
So I mean, a lot of people obviously Go community is kind of small, and it's small enough that you recognize faces,
Right.
seeing your old friends, making new friends constantly too. It's part of why I like to travel and go to these events, is seeing people that I've met again and
Yeah, no doubt.
But it's lunchtime too, so
It's lunchtime. We got Subway sandwiches.
Subway sandwiches free, right? I mean,
Free lunch. So yeah, I mean, this is an Ing Foundation sponsored event. They've got a lot of money, so it's great.
Well, I always tell people too when I meet people who've never played Go and they're trying to like wrap their head around how big this is, saying you go to Asia and you got TV stations they're playing 24/7.
Yeah, it's nuts.
You got championships where the top prizes are like $500,000, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
although-
a lot of money in Go actually.
Are you aware of the top prizes of StarCraft and these other video games?
No, how much?
Well, okay. Actually, does anybody know? I feel like it's like several million. These
Several
StarCraft
million.
tournaments, like several million, like stadiums. I don't understand StarCraft. I can't get into it.
I watched-
It's too crazy. It's too much.
When I was in Korea, I did watch
Okay.
some of that live, but yeah, it's a different goes more my
different world.
style. Yeah. So the PM streaming will be starting at 1 p.m.
What time is it now?
here. That's a great question.
I have
I left my
watch.
watch elsewhere.
It is 3-1, so I think we're gonna go.
Oh.
So maybe we'll just keep hanging out for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna see Ryan Lee and Calvin Sun do commentary on one of the Chang Qi Cup semifinal matches.
Great.
So that's coming up in a couple minutes. Let's just. Well,
Commercial sponsor? No, I'm kidding.
is it too annoying to switch to the other Chang Qi game live to see where we're at with it? Too annoying. Okay. What else is new?
Oh, let's see here. In the Go world. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting the way progression works. You were talking about reading earlier. Do you want me to
Right.
share a little bit of my game this
Oh
morning?
yeah, tell us about your game this
Yeah,
morning.
okay,
So
this is
Devin
something.
came downstairs like 1 minute after the tournament started.
Not even. 1 minute's a little quick, but yes, it was pretty fast. I was missing my morning coffee. I feel like this happens to me every tournament I play too. The travel day, it always gets me. And then
Yeah.
the next morning, I mean, I was up till 1:30 last night. I don't know why I do this to myself. But all right, so I'm white
Cool.
in this case, and I have
All
a
right,
French
so this is-
opponent, black. Nice guy.
We're gonna waste your time with 5 reviewing a 1Q. For a
Yeah,
couple minutes,
exactly. Just
before we get
to
get
go.
back to our world class competition.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll check out some 1Q go.
And this will give you a good juxtaposition. So when you see the good stuff, you can go,
Yeah. Well, this is relatable. These guys out there.
Yeah. Well, they're our heroes.
they
Right?
can
We
relate.
look up and learn from them. I'm opening up.
So you're white or you're black?
I'm white. I'm
Okay.
white.
So this is this morning at the Chang Qi Amateur Tournament round
Yeah.
1.
So I think my first move is okay. I don't think I've messed
Yes,
up yet.
first move's good.
Okay.
First move's good.
I'm glad to hear it. Black goes over there, and I feel like this could be normal.
Y'all cut here?
What?
The feet's off.
Well, we're gonna do. So we're just killing time until the pro commentary starts.
It's about 5 minutes here.
So I guess Vince, are you on that? Whenever it starts, you can just cut us off.
I think we're starting.
Right.
Well, then switch to it. All right. Do you want to? Okay. That was a great first move.
Thank you. Yeah, I know.
Good job.
But play this many games like that.
Cool. So we are now about. And are you picking up audio from me or from there or from both?
Right here. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So we don't need to hide. There's a guy over there.
Yeah, it's something you got. It's fine.
Trong có bạn kia kìa.
go for more later.
大概这样，这样。Are you recording? Okay. Oh, they're already continuing.
Guess we'll start now.
Okay, we'll start. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan,
My name is Calvin.
and we're here to review this game.
Commentary on one of the two semifinals.
Yes, it is a little hard to hear you.
Oh,
Okay.
this way.
Is this one?
We'll speak louder, I guess.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Much better, thank you.
There's a lot of background noise. Yeah.
We have to.
Could do that. Yeah, I don't know if that's distracting coming in.
Alright, we'll start with the game.
Yeah, this is the first game. There are 4 pros right now, and this is the semi-final. It's best of 3, so the winner will. I think usually the finals is spaced out, so they don't have to play it right away. They can have a couple months to kind
The
of.
program says the finals in October.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Then I'm corrected. Maybe half a month. Okay, we'll just get right into the game, I guess. So, this is a pretty popular opening in the game. Recently, Black style has become very territorial, so they like 3-4s instead of 4-4. 4-4 is kind of usually more used for influence because it's more suited for the center. So, and closure here.
This is a very popular opening for Black nowadays. It used to be that Black would play here, but then nowadays Black feels quicker, like playing here and trying to expand during the opening. Black plays here, and White play here.
So this is trying to be more efficient, right?
Yeah.
So if you play here, then it's a smaller corner. Now this looks a lot faster. You're getting more, but the downside to that is there's more Aki on this side and on both sides. Yeah, or if
this.
or if White pincers on this side, then yeah, there's a very strong follow-up moves that are quite severe. But if this stone is here, then this corner is much stronger and it's easy. So Black does not have to respond.
But Black feels like it's better to be efficient in the beginning, so
It's more of a personal choice, really. And this approach, this used to be a very popular opening, right?
yeah.
And then White strips Seki, right? And then White pulls back, and then extend.
And White.
So this used to be very popular. You would see this in maybe 1 out of 2 pro games.
And then if Black chooses to maybe extend, White might Tanuki. In the future, White can live in the corner like this. And this is a very common live shape for White in the corner. So this shows the downside of moves such as this, whereas if Black were somewhere like this, it would be much harder to
So this is a pretty common Joseki, right? You guys all know about this Joseki, and the reason why white wants to attach in the corner is because if black responds on the outside, like the variation that we just had, if black responds on the outside, then the follow-up move. So this move, it has a follow-up move, follow-up sequence here. So this sequence gets thickness around here. So if black responds on the outside, and then this move is not as big, because if black has thickness here, and there's still a possibility that white can live in the corner, then this move becomes smaller. But if black responds in the corner, let's say here, then white will spend a move to fix this weakness.
And you can see that this exchange, or these two exchanges, are very good for white. Because in the future, white may choose to extend, use the Aji in here. If black chooses to connect, maybe there's something on the top in the future. Or white still has this Aji. If white is bigger here, white can still choose to do something like this. So this exchange is better, whereas if white simply chose to jump right now, in the future, if white still chooses to attach, black can probably just extend or something. So the timing of the probe is very important.
Okay, so enough with this opening, I guess.
So in the real game, black.
White didn't want to play this. So this farm fixer. And takes the corner. So this is another very common opening. Now, in situations like this, where do you think black should play right now? Does anyone want to?
C8. Here?
Yeah, this is a very big move. Because this move, black can get some influence and also reduces white. So this move, since this is high, this move becomes very big, right? Because it stretches on white's weakness, because this is a very far. These two stones are very far away, so they're not very strong. So you want to attack, and the first way to attack is to limit their eye shape, turn.
So this move basically threatens moves such as this, which will take white's base. So white would probably choose to defend. Spend a move to defend those two.
The white jumps here.
This is very good shape because since this is high, this kind of makes it has a very 3D feeling to it, which is good for eye shape.
Now you might think this isn't territory, right? Because black can obviously play here, right? And if white responds, then this is not much territory, right? If you just play a low one, then maybe it's better. But this high one, this move is actually kind of something, because if black's a new piece, then white, this side is still very big, right? If black plays here, this is a very big move because it reduces white's territory and black can get some. But in the big picture, this is even bigger, right? Because this side, if white comes down here, let's say here or here, then it limits black to just this corner, and maybe white can develop influence here. So it's important to know which move is the biggest for every situation. Yeah.
I'm thinking black before the approach, right? To invade invade there
invade
first
right.
the test. Because later if you invade, white's answer might be different, right? I think this might be a perfect timing to put inside to save, because with that, white probably won't jump there later.
Right. So if black invades right now,
Yeah.
white won't play here. that's correct.
Right. So you prevent white from playing that strategic move.
White would very likely play this move.
Yeah. And then you can.
But so you're saying that since you play here and white will jump,
yeah.
so you invade first, and
Right.
now you play here, white
Right,
can't
to
jump.
force white to do something.
Yes, this is it's a very interesting strategy. I like your strategy. But if you play here,
Right now?
Yeah, I think this is still big. Right?
Yeah.
yeah, this is still big. But now this move is it's not very good because white play here,
Right.
and now it's completely thick.
That's why this is like a bone through to the white, so that black can play more strategic moves. Meaning give white a more solid thing, right? But black can speed up to play somewhere else.
Like exchanging this, black gets sente
Yeah.
and can
And
play
also
somewhere
white
else.
cannot jump. That's the key thing.
Right. Okay.
Because locally white is small anyway, right? And the left corner is solid.
Right. So you might think that this is good. Black might get sente, maybe like approach something like this.
Right.
But then, since white is so solid now, and black has basically wasted the move here, white can still approach here and threaten black's corner. So basically, like how you can see that this situation is not too good for black is that usually white might choose to play here. This is another variation, other than this. And so if white plays here, black's normal move would be to play here, right?
Right.
White would jump, maybe something back to this.
Yeah.
But now black chooses to play here, which is already very slack. White might choose to tanuki or something. White played this move, which is not that great, but then black chose to attach here.
Yeah.
And so this exchange would probably be a lot worse than if black just simply chose to do something like this.
Right. But how about normally black do the three space extension, right? Then black approach. Then white reset the answer. White answer the one space make up there.
Okay?
No, the other way. So black still approach. Right. And white answer at the fourth line jump. Fourth line.
Here.
No, there. Fourth.
Attach?
Yeah. A B C D D12. Yeah, like that. Right. That's make more sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but the importance of thickness here, it's I think you're trying to stress that because you get sente, right? You get an extra move, but it's this shape.
That's a bad move for black.
Yeah, I know, but the reason why it's so bad is because white is so thick now. And when you're playing in a situation where your opponent has more stones, where it's thicker, then let's say you do get more moves. Maybe you can approach or here, but once white is thick, black suddenly becomes weak, right? Since now after this shape, as you said, white can pincer here, right?
But because of black stones there, still have some agi there, right?
Right.
Not just because of agi. Well, yes, there's
So
some,
the corner cannot be kept totally. That's why.
yeah, but that's all of this is because white is thick here now. So now this becomes very
Yeah, that's true.
big, right? But if it was like this, then white has to think before he plays here, right? Because white is not very thick, right? I think we can all agree that this is a very aggressive move, and because that's because white is very weak here.
Yeah.
Now, if it was like this, and now you don't. If let's say black fixes, because this is still quite a big move. If black fixes, then you can still see that it's not very good, even though you are very fast in the opening, and it is very important to be fast. But you should also consider the thickness.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
And
That's my thought. When you put the extension, immediately saw how
It's a good question. So usually white will jump, and there's also a variation that white will play here. And so this means if white jumps, then black gets this. Now the reason why I play is white kind of wants this side. So white playing here, white's actually limiting black's influence on this side as well. Now this obviously has its downside. This is a lot weaker, and there's all kinds of invasions here. So this is, but it's an interesting move because some people played it, and some people like playing faster moves that are more just kind of like this move, how it's a bit better, but it has its weaknesses. Yeah, this is also a possibility.
So it's based on your preference whether you like to be fast in the beginning or to be thick and solid. So white chose to play here.
And again, this is very big.
Okay. And so white thinks that even if white spends another move here, he won't really accomplish much because black probably won't try to invade. Like, white might just give up the block.
This shape is very interesting because it seems like there's a lot of invasion, right? Black already has a move here, and this seems very weak. So, what kind of invasions does black have here?
Maybe something like the peep.
But if you peep now, maybe I won't connect. Because if you peep, then I would think that you want me to connect, right? So what if I connect?
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, this is very, very strong. So this move means if I play on top, then you can pull back. And now all my, now like this group is sort of floating on top. No I shape, right? But if I block, and you can push out.
Push out.
Now if these two groups are separated, then white is pretty dangerous, right? Because black only has one group and white has two weak groups now. So this, maybe I'll okay again.
So usually if black wants white to connect, black will peep first before playing this. Because in situations like this, if black peeps now, white will probably always play here. So, and taking this stone isn't that big of a deal since black has already spent a move here. So usually white will connect here and then black will play here to make sure that white connects instead of playing here.
Yeah, so this is another way of playing fast. Because if black peeps first, then usually white would have to spend a move here. And white would be happy to spend a move here now because now this exchange is extremely bad.
And so black will get sent in and probably play something here. What's different?
People don't want to, like, usually these days you don't want to lose territory first. So this way it's fast, but then it's a lot of territory.
For white. So basically white values speed over solidifying his group. So he plays here.
And black approaches. Now, in this situation, this is a very difficult question, but which side do you think black should approach
I would
first?
agree the other side. The reason being, the textbook says the high and the low, right? It's a good shape. Besides, because of the white corner, there's a low position, so that's a less attractive approach from that side. Also, if you don't play there, later white approach near the high position of the black extended stone.
So you're saying this is a better.
Yeah, I think because
So
of
I
that.
think this is a better shape for black, and this is not as good.
There, right? Because you play a higher move. Now you're inviting people to approach from lower position. Then suddenly you change to another corner to approach there. So it's not consistent.
There's actually not a clear answer to this. You can approach from either side, and it would be fine.
No, if you want to play this side, I would have changed that high fourth line extension into the third line.
Here.
Yeah, to totally reduce the the potential. So basically saying don't even think about playing on that line. On low position, less potential. Play somewhere else.
Yeah, it seems like a subtle difference. But I think the reason why black play here is that when he approaches, then white would put here. But if it's low, then white would cancel. Because this side, if you play a low move here, then this side is not as big anymore.
Okay.
So white
For example.
would, yeah, white would
Maybe something like
this. faster than this chip set.
That's too low for black.
And white can probably play something like this. So as you can see, this is it's a pretty big difference. Like if black were playing here, he might choose to expand later, probably something like this, to make this side bigger. But since it's already so low on this side, there's really no point for black to play further on this side.
So I think the reason why black didn't approach on this side was because if white were spawned here, it's really hard to play a move in between. Right? It seems like this is black's influence, but you can't really make it solid in one move. That makes sense. So if you play here, then this invasion becomes extremely big. Because this is kind of like the Kobayashi opening, if you guys are familiar with that. And this invasion is very severe for the shape. And there's no other good way to maybe, yeah, if you play here, then obviously if white goes in between. Not now, but there's always that weakness there that black has to worry about.
And so playing two moves just to get this side wouldn't be very efficient.
What about extending from your corner over here? That big empty side looks big to me.
Right now.
Well, or if black does something that for not for white.
If black does something here,
Yeah.
then white would probably.
Okay.
take it. But you're right, this is a very big side.
But if black plays on this side, like here, this is just like he, and now this side is not as big anymore because black already has stones here. Now this becomes very big, right? Because if white plays on here, then black can pincer all the way here. And the reason for that is because black can play here.
If white to move.
If white can move. Or if white invades, and let's say we play a simple, if white jumps, and this is big because white's group is not entirely alive yet. So this is a very big move as well.
So white goes to.
And also because of this shit, right? It's high, so this pincer is very annoying. Because the nice thing, black has no territory anymore.
That's why personally, I don't like the high jump because it's almost like unfinished business.
Yeah.
When white approach, you have to learn where to approach. So I play that in the first place without a good lot move.
Yes.
One idea is that black is afraid of the pincer. And another reason is because this move applies more pressure to this group,
Right.
which still, if black were caught like this, white,
Yeah.
the cut wouldn't be as severe.
Right.
So if black plays something like this, white still has unfinished business right here. White might choose to protect in the future. So black's invade here would be a lot more severe if black were higher. That's another reason why black chose this move instead of this.
Again, it's the idea of weakness and thickness. So you're trying to put pressure on the weaker groups, and that way it makes your group stronger. So now, I think black invades. Now black chose the high one because now, since there's a move here already, if black peeps here, then white would just and if this stone is not as big anymore, so white can just put here and give it up.
If black. For example, if black played here, and black plays.
I guess.
Then this stone is not very big because white can.
Yeah, in the future, but I think white would probably
Probably fix right
something here. Yeah. Now white's group is solid, so and black only got a little bit of profit, so it's not a very good exchange for black.
Like, it might seem that black got this territory, but black needs to spend another move here. And the white has forcing moves such as this. And so like for black to play something like this and then to have white do something, you can see that maybe like 10 stones made 20-ish points. So it's really not a good idea to spend so many moves to get something that might seem big but really is.
So now this peak doesn't work. So the only way for black to invade is this high position. And this, I think this is the only move for white, because white really needs to connect his groups. And again, if these two groups are separated, then white would have two weak groups. So, I think
This is just a probing move to see what white would play. And to help this situation a little more. So black chose to play this. I think the purpose of this is that he's afraid white might do something like this. And then choose to maybe expand this side. And so this is very painful for black because since white has stones here and this stone really isn't in an ideal position, this might be too painful for black. So I think that's why black chose to jump. And it enforces his own group as well, so it's like a win-win type of thing.
white jumps here. I think white is still afraid of elevation here. Because now with this stone, if black moves here, eventually white would have to come back and play a move here. So this is kind of sente in this sense. So white plays here.
Also,
this jump is trying to cover that weakness here.
and so where do you guys think black should play next?
Any ideas? Well, this side is very big, right?
Press down, right side. Nice.
Here?
No, down, no, on the other side of the board. From the wing jump. No.
From the jump, black
From
jump
the-
that you just made.
Oh,
Yeah, press down there.
So it might seem that the black reduced white's territory. Maybe would this be fine? So it might seem that black got 2 moves in the center while reducing white's territory, but in fact the center isn't very big for black. For black to make more potential, black would probably have to play something like this to further expand. And so spending this many moves while black is so low already might not be the best idea. While these 2 moves give white a very solid territory, and it's very
pros like potential, and they like to leave the variation, right? You don't know, like this is kind of it's not empty, but there's still very many possibilities, right? You don't know which one is the best here yet. So if you let's say you play something else. If you play somewhere else, if you're not afraid of white playing here, then you shouldn't play here because in the future, because you don't know what's going to happen later in the game, right? Let's say later in the game, and you get thicker here, then you might want something more severe, like maybe invade or something even more severe. So they don't like to exchange things because it leaves the possibility for maybe something better.
So any other ideas?
Quick question. So in this situation, do you think a 13 and 14 is a big move for white? You mean the cat move, right? Just one line further.
Oh, this one.
This one?
Yeah, that.
Oh, this one.
If that's big, then black's knight probe pressure will be a good move.
Right.
If it's not, of course, you will leave the variation there.
Yeah, this is not big as yet.
It is a very big move, but considering there's still open space on the sides, pros like to play on the sides and then kind of move towards the center.
Right.
So I think probably this side would be a bigger choice for black right now.
So there's two sides. There's this side and this side. But this side you can see it's much wider. So usually you want to play on the wider side. So I think black would want to put some here.
This is a very good move for white because it expands his own territory, but just not the right timing right now.
Right. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is,
So-
if I get that incentive, then later approach the corner by the 16th read. Oh no, 15th read. Right. If I get that and approach that, maybe it would be better for black. Most likely because of the 9 and the 15 white jump. It's almost like a waste.
It's very hard to say like this exchange is good for whom, but as we mentioned, pros don't really like to. Yeah, they like Aji Keshi like.
It's mostly because they don't know what's better, so it's better to leave it. If it's not big for your opponent to play, then most of the time you can leave it.
Even if white plays here, it's not that big of a deal for black.
Yeah, let's say black would spend 2 moves on that side.
Maybe like, and so this is much bigger than that. And so you mentioned this move. That's what black played in the game.
Oh, yeah. Feels like that because the lower, I just don't like the first black stones there. Play against that lower, corner.
Oh.
So to me, naturally, I don't feel like playing there because.
So
Yeah, this
of
side
the
is very
corner.
big, and this is a common way to approach. And what Hanan in this way you get this incente. And if you turn, now you can.
Yeah, this is better because of the first stone solidify that. So make the white approach less effective.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a very good variation for black. White is acceptable too because white got very solid territory here. The invade is still possible.
Now the key point in the game would be how white reduces this big influence here. But black didn't choose this variation.
Black chose speed over.
He chose the Tanuki here. I think this is the reason he played this. We will see in a bit. So what he was looking at was the weakness here. So he played this move, and white has to connect again because like this stone is not as big, so it connects under.
So usually white might try to play something like this.
Yeah, If black cuts,
White might.
like you were right. So the reason why black made these 2 exchanges in advance was because now black can jump here, and this ladder is just fixed because of these 2 stones. So black saw this variation in advance, and so that's why he attached here.
Not really, that's how I do this. That's like you waste the corner, potential simply for that small place. Because like you mentioned before, even if black got that without any ladder active, no need to worry about the ladder. It's small there because of the first line position. So why spend move thinking there? Such a small place.
Yeah, but if it's in this shape, then white just needs to be fixed, right? Because this group is not alive. If white
Right,
spends another move.
Feels like a long shot.
Right.
Yeah, well you got this incente, remember?
And you can revert back to this if you get this incentive.
Yeah, if white simply fixes, then black got this incente. And now black can turn and play what he wanted on this side.
And this exchange would be overall good for black.
Right. If white would like to play back. Right?
But say like if white like Tanuki,
Right.
then this point is very threatening.
Yeah, that's
Where black has to fix it. And so
Yeah, but this is kind of incente. And
right. But the fact is, black has to make up one more move before the attack. That means, if I were white, I probably wouldn't answer that. Because it makes me less attractive.
So you would play on this
Yeah,
side?
I'll fight back. Because if you go to second line to attack, I'll use the IG to make some high shield. Right, I'll attach out the bamboo joint there, and then just answer that.
So why might play here? Like this is
Yeah, because
ideal
I
variation.
can always play there. Right?
Okay, so this.
It's hard to say, I think.
I think Black thinks that this
No,
is.
but keep in mind that this variation is not the same as the one we saw before, right? The one we saw before was this shape, right? It's this shape.
And so this shape is good for White.
So this is a big difference from the previous shape because these differences, right? In terms of territory, right? But in this game it was like this, right?
Yeah, it kind of
And White shape is a lot
Weaker. So Black thinks that this is more important than this side, since while it threatens White's group up top, it also creates opportunities to invade, such as this. And since Black is so thick right now, White really can't use these two stones anymore. White really can't cap this Black stone, so it basically splits White. So that's why we try not to play moves such as these, because if this were exchanged, then this wouldn't have as big of a potential. Yeah,
I think I understand, but I just feel like Black is playing a long shot game.
Yeah, he doesn't want the normal game. Well, again, as Black, you don't want to play too solid because especially with the big Comey right now, most pros like White because of the big Comey. So as Black, you would usually have to try very
aggressive, or not aggressive, but
aggressive, so like the faster moves and the more pressured moves here.
I just feel like if I were playing Black, I already feel the huge burden for me already.
it's very.
Yeah, now
It's based on your preference. That's.
now in this variation, since nothing is exchanged here, then White would probably invade here. I think this is a pretty big one. So Black doesn't like this because White knows where Black is going.
That way, Black can play at 5-4 there. Because White is changing the corner for side, so Black should be happy. Besides, there's a lot of IG in that area. It's hard to take all the territory.
No, I think the stone is big because of
The
because this
weakness
side.
here, White can cap.
If White gets thick here, then this stone, then you can never exchange these two.
And Black's corner still has moves like this.
Right.
Black really doesn't want this. It's
It's a different game. Yes.
it's really a different.
There's a lot less possibilities though, right? White could just reduce, and White already has his own territory.
And maybe Black's playstyle is where like wants to find. So he chose such as this.
Yeah. And now White doesn't play this variation because he saw that Black can jump, so he exchanges this first, and this is very interesting because now when White unace, Black cuts. Now you might say Black can still play here, right? Because the ladder is still favorable for Black.
That's a problem there.
Yeah, and it actually uses this stone because White pushes an Atari. Now he can make an extra Atari and put here. So now if you push, it doesn't work, right? If you push, White would block. So now you would have to Atari here.
That's a double.
But White doesn't care about that anymore. White can play here. And
Well, maybe White should cut first.
Yeah, I think I would cut first.
Maybe cut first.
Yeah.
this is
That's
with
like
the cut.
that's
Or-
more
Oh,
like
you want to cut? Oh, you want to cut.
So yeah, maybe cut first.
Yeah, cut first. Because otherwise, when you cut out Black default, that's
White can save this for later, which is why White probably doesn't want to exchange this first.
Yeah.
And so maybe cut first. if black chooses something like this is very big for white. And the stone isn't that big, since white can probably the target. And so, moves such as this are sente, white might choose not to play them.
No, I think you have to play.
Okay.
Because black. Here.
And then, if black tanukis, then white still has this very big. These two stones aren't that urgent right now. And white, you see, white has influence, like, so, with moves such as this. So I think this result is probably better for white, since black already tanuki one move.
No, I mean, if you cut first, you will still follow this sequence. Can you do not do the cap there and exchange the right? You should still keep that. So suppose white cut now, right? But white save that cap with the double target. Don't do that exchange yet. Because all the good ideas coming out of that. You just simply cut that. Right? If black still would have played that, right? Then you connect. If black still parry from the third line, you expand. Then black will push down naturally, right? Then you can parry from the 4-6 place. And then you have a nose attach.
Oh.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
So you're saying
Attach at 6-7.
okay.
Yeah. But you say that, you say that exchange that.
But this is kind of sente, right? Because there's a cut here.
No, but now you can ladder the stones without a cap. Yeah, don't do that move.
Oh, you want to cut right away here.
Yeah. And then you attach on the nose. So that will be really hard.
So cut right now.
Yeah.
What you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, you
I see.
you can anyway push that. You
Alright,
just cut right now.
Cut right now.
Yeah. This is like a hit to the belly to black. Because if you do
I was just trying to make the distinction that this move works here.
Yeah.
Right? Black will not play here.
Right. But if you
Right.
follow that way, that's
Yeah,
not clear.
Yeah, not necessarily though.
Right. I'm saying just if you do that variation, then you have that good follow up.
Right.
I'm still not following.
Not playing this, just playing right now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Let's get back to the game.
Can I
So-
ask why you cross cut in the first place? Why you cross cut? Then we,
Okay. Right now.
yeah, whenever you did it, why you cross cut?
Okay. So white is aiming for the push.
There's a lot of agi because white's this move is sente, right? And all of these moves are kind of sente. So when you play a very aggressive move here, and black's every move black plays, he has to worry about this Atari. So that's why this crosscut works. Normally it doesn't, but it's because of this weakness here. White can crosscut here.
So if maybe like if black simply played something like this, right, connect, and then if black chose to,
Yeah.
So now these three stones
you
are
can see
dead.
that since this is sente,
Yeah.
white can just push across. So exchanging these might be locally bad in this position, but since these three stones are so big that it makes sense to play this first.
Let me interrupt you guys for just 1 second. This is fantastic commentary, but you guys also have a round in 15 minutes. So I encourage you, please keep watching, but there's 15 minutes until the next round. So just be aware. Thanks, guys. Keep going.
Alright, so now black needs to play here. But even though black played here, this is not necessarily a good exchange. So it's still very hard to say who's better. But white's still cut. And these cross cuts are very hard to respond, right? Because there's taris everywhere, and yeah, there's just so many variations. Now, usually for crosscuts, you would want to extend, but not Atari. So,
But something like this.
yeah.
can you just give up that stone? A target from top, a target from side, and from neck. Meaning that stone is just give it
Oh,
up.
this is big though.
Yeah, because I think the left side is much bigger than this side.
Oh no, I think this is too big. Even though you have the stones here, it's really hard to make territory.
So connect
Yeah.
white with.
Right. Then you follow up the corner if white still answers.
But now, oh, now you can
Yeah.
exchange this.
Right. This is will be too ideal for black.
Not necessarily.
No, if you play here, you can't play here anymore.
Yeah. Well,
So it's hard to play here, and this is very big. Because before, these stones were quite weak, and now here white has many points.
And you can see that since black played this move, these stones are very heavy now.
Yeah.
So white might choose to move out these two stones.
Yeah, very severe connection here.
And black chooses, if black played this, white can jump.
Yeah.
And then these stones are very big as well. So I think that's the reason black doesn't want to give up the stone to continue attacking white.
If black extends here, I think white can play here.
And so if black chooses like this, like,
Yeah, it's really hard for black to play.
but even though this does not kill black, this is very severe for white. Black. As you can see that.
This shape, where
Black
black
shape
has
is-
to take and carry, and it's 4 stones, you have to connect.
And then moves such as this are also sensitive for white. So as you can see, black's shape is basically ruined.
Yeah, this is not very efficient.
That's why in the beginning I thought this black start a long fight, hard fight, go back.
Black is hard here, because he doesn't want this move to be sente. And black doesn't want to Atari because this is really not efficient, so he has to keep fighting.
And white chose the opportunity to attack.
And Atari. And now it's getting really complicated.
It's very complicated.
So my feeling is in the black start long fight. I feel like every move white is forcing black to have to answer something. So from that, from that thinking alone, I think black's fight is not in his favor. Because usually when you start fight, you want to force others to answer. But now white changes the plan, force black to have to answer something.
Well, we'll see how this fight turns out.
Yeah, so black right now can't really give up anything.
And then white, because giving up this stone would be awful. White. Oh, black attack, since he doesn't want white to get this. So it's
That black first one's almost dead.
So black Ataris.
this.
Yeah, there's
So I just push out. You have to push inside it, then you just expand that strong.
yeah, push.
I don't see any.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so I think white can't exchange this now.
Since
Black
this
versus
is what we do.
Atari.
Right.
And Atari, yeah.
My question is, can white Atari first before running out that stone?
Oh, Atari right now.
Yeah. Because you made that two stone heavy already, then you try to Atari this almost useless last stone. It's
Still-
all about timing of it.
This is still a lot bigger for black. Since this is, the thickness doesn't really have any influence. Since black already has stones here, like, this is not that big. Black
So now, interestingly, white can't exchange this during the fight. And, but after a few moves, it seems like black is doing okay in the fight.
Wait, why couldn't white do that?
Because black will not answer.
Black might capture these.
So capturing this is not as big as this over here. So, stem.
But if white cannot catch black inside, that means white overstudied. Meaning white overplayed.
Not necessarily.
We still have to see how
Oh, okay.
It's hard to say who overplayed or
Right.
who's favored. We'll see in a few moves. So,
white played here. And so, the same idea if white plays here, black will connect back. So this attire basically is not set.
so after a few moves, this that used to be really big does not have the same value anymore.
And so white really want to play this move because it captures C2 stones. But to have black, push like this and capture this side is also too big. So white chose to connect, which is a good idea. Ari is in table.
So, what happened here? White crosscut and got territory here. But now this group is in danger.
Black got influence and he moved out this stone. So it's really hard to say who got the better result.
Now this group is kind of hard because if white just plays here, then black can't, and it's really hard to live.
Double one.
So this is really hard to live. So white instead, he plays a very light move. So now he wants black to cut. Right? If black cuts,
Or what thing? Like maybe do something like this.
let's just do the simple
So
variation.
it's hard.
And
Maybe
yeah.
harder.
So these are not as big anymore.
These are only 12 stones. Or 12 points.
And this is a good way to sacrifice.
Black's influence can't really attack white since white has already lived. And this side is, as you said before, is very big for both sides.
So black has to keep attacking. He can't see just these stones.
So white is very powerful.
And now white thinks, oh, you don't want to capture me, I will just live. Right? So, because this move fixes this cut. And again, these are very strong moves. So if white plays here, then he doesn't have an I shape. Right? Black can still play here, and it's hard for white to respond.
White
There's no I shape. Okay, maybe.
Maybe just something
Yeah,
like
like this move is not very strong, right? But white, since white can play here, and he's not afraid of black capturing these. And this side is still big, and this is only.
And now this move is in the middle of nowhere. So
Yes,
black wants to
this
kill
variation.
everything.
So black has to keep his stance on the attack, and it's already here.
White has to capture.
So now this group is not alive.
Now
So-
becomes fight first round. Through calculation.
Alright. It's yeah.
This seemed like a game more favorable for white though.
Since white has a lot more territory, if white lives, black might not be able to catch up. But it's still very hard for white to live without giving black some advantages. So white chooses to further.
It's really hard for black to kill this group though. Even though there's sickness here, it's really hard to kill. And what is white extend here?
If white extends here, then this is very good for black. This move might seem to separate black, but black's very big on both sides. And moves such as this move might help black, try to completely surround white. So I think white wants to save moves such as this. So in the future, if black takes, white can play something else. So this exchange might not be good for white right now.
So these two stones are not as important. I think if white can live this group, then it's kind of hard for black, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he plays a very interesting move here.
This move threatens the push, which is very big. Black can't push right now because the Atari Sente and then these 9 stones will be separated.
So this move is it's actually sent to here, and this whole move is extremely big. Now this is very good shape for black.
And black has endgame moves such as this, so this is very good. And it threatens if white.
Yeah, white can't
chooses to-
connect here now.
This
Now
white
this cap.
completely net. So this is targeting both sides.
So white has no choice. Oh, he
White,
exchanges.
so this exchanges.
Just one last question, promise. Can white answer by, play at a 7-11? Oh, switches in 7-11.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's still the cap though.
Focus on that.
This stone,
Then
if you push, I will tiger stone.
Right, and carry back and then connect.
Oh, Atari net.
Yeah. Meaning, just Liberty, I think the white group is longer than black.
There's no liberty fight.
Black won't like this.
Yeah.
Atari.
Right. Just you can do something, Meaning can white have back inside.
Or
Now the meaning of this move is that if you play anywhere here, black will have red every single variation
Oh,
here.
okay.
So
and
yeah, and I think
why not this is
I
something?
think by the looks of it, it's really hard, even if black just extends.
Yeah, I think that white connect is kind of too generous. Maybe white just play at the 9, 12. Yeah.
if this is still something.
No, you can't because I can tar it.
Or yeah.
Oh, the ladder.
So this ladder works.
Okay.
So overall, it's very hard to kill black, and if white doesn't kill black, white loses.
Yeah,
So
must have
this type-
read that.
So
Yeah, this is very dangerous.
this requires a lot of reading
So you would have to have red every single variation on this side.
to play moves such
Yes,
as.
that's a good move.
Yeah, so this is a very bold move here. But this, yeah, we change this. Black has to cut. And then it's here.
Alright, thank you guys for coming.
And now, yeah, this is a very thick move. Now it's all connected. And now all this shape is good.
And so white sees that black's nuki, so white wants to pressure the bottom side. Since if white simply jumps out and lets black do something like this, white is very behind territory. Since black got these and he got the corner plus this side. So it's a very strong move.
It's really big. Black can't just simply give up these 2 stones. Change
Black's
this
first. So black has to connect. This cut is very similar. So exchange this and then.
So now black has his own weaknesses to worry about.
So this cut is very similar. So white. Okay.
Now black has to push. There's no choice. Oh wait, white didn't cut.
White pushed first.
Which is a very good sequence. Because if white cuts first, then black takes. And now if white plays here, black would never play here. So if white plays here first, and black has to respond here, then now white can cut. So in essence, he exchanged this Atari, these 2 moves.
It's a good exchange.
Which is favorable for white. And now he put this Atari, which is very surprising.
Since black really wants to come down here, but this is a very big move for white. Basically, completely surrounds black stones. It's very hard for black to live. So, in comparison, this move would be bigger than this one.
Reminder for any players in the tournament, the round is starting now.
Okay.
So,
What does black do?
or black.
Black took. Okay.
Oh, and then white.
White has to block. So he changed this here.
And then black play. White has to put here. And then black takes these 2.
So who's better?
So, I think the fight that started from this move ended up as a good result for black. Since black got this position and got these 2 stones and got this side, so I think all white got was that. And as you can see, by escaping, white didn't really get any territory, so white still probably has to spend the move somewhere here. So overall, I think it's a very good outcome for black. At the top, black still has endgame moves such as this, which are sent in. So I think this is a very successful attack by black.
However, though, white, even though, like you mentioned, black got this, and you have these endgames, but white, he pretty much destroyed black's influence, the same thing white fixes here.
So black's influence on this side was completely destroyed by white.
Yeah, so I think it's still hard to tell who is better.
But I think
You want to
if
do a
we-
quick count?
like a rough estimate, it was around 10, 11 points. And this, if we count,
So,
You guys don't know the next round
or so the haunting.
so we should see this. So we have 11.
是这样的吧？为什么不打一下？
打了不打。
打一下。哎，那有个棋的是吗？ game now, so anytime you get it, wrap up.
We're wrapping this.
Yeah. You guys can.
It's interesting.
So
Yeah, this endgame is actually very interesting because the white Atari, the black Atari is first, and black and Atari here, and hunting, and now white has the Atari, and this is Sente. But
this side.
this side, black lost quite a bit.
It, yeah, something like this.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. And if black hunting is directly and white plays here, then he might be able to get this in the future.
And then this move is bigger for black without this take, since white has everything like that.
But who do you think is better?
I think black's probably ahead.
Black is around 50.
50 points, or white has like 11. It's really hard to say what white can get there, since white has to spend another move here.
这个牌的非要读一手，
I agree.
Oof. It,
没有，如果牌的不好，不会为什么虚？
这个。This. Yeah, I think black is better because black has around 52, and white has around like just over 30, I think. But I only counted second line territory.
white still has potential, but black also has potential with moves such as this, so I think overall black's pretty comfortably ahead at this point of the game. And so
We'll wrap up.
we'll wrap up the commentary. Alright, thanks.
So Black did win in the end, right?
Black won, or by the looks of it, black won.
Yeah, I think black is.
Black killed everything.
Kill everything.
I don't know how this happened.
few tournament games, you get the hang of it, and they don't feel any pressure anymore. Look how fast the first game just ended. I mean, that was like 3 hours. They're clearly they're very experienced. They've studied for Sekis.
Right.
They're confident. They don't feel pressure. So personally, I think the favorite will be. I would be betting on Lancia at this point, to be honest. I think he's definitely the favorite to enter the finals, clearly, but.
Right, but even without the 1-0 start, you feel like maybe he might be.
Before the.
Well,
the first round?
Andy, let me cut you off there for a second. I think we're going to pause for a second to resolve some technical difficulties, and we'll come right back just before the second round of the amateur tournament, and with a review of the first match to end in the Chang Qi Cup. So we'll be back in just a bit with more info on that. Stay tuned.
Hear me again.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we're live. I still don't know if I went through.
All right, and we are back. The amateur tournament still pairings are still going up. We're still waiting for those feeds. You should see those on KGS any moment now, and we'll head over there. But what do you want to do first? We got some time to kill.
So let's see. We've got a few minutes. It'd be nice to review this game. We may have technical difficulties before we can show you what's in this game by Li Qingqing and Lian Xiao that's just ended a few minutes ago. Vincent, do you think that'll be possible for us to take a look at that game, or do we?
With audience errors.
Okay, now you are streaming.
Are you sure? Tracks.
Unusual.
For the photographs, Andy.
I know. Just throw.
You're
there.
Skip to the doesn't fit in most wallets.
Drag it off to the end.
Okay, how do they cache it?
Wow.
Look at that.
If they don't cache it,
Isn't that nice?
That is gorgeous.
They better cache it.
So I'd quit ODS and start it again.
Right.
Did we do that already?
OBS crashed on me.
You just what?
OBS crashed on me, so I restarted.
Oh, so it already has.
I feel like it. I'm pretty sure it's restarted. I just restarted it again.
So. Ready? Are you guys ready?
No, it's
3,
just.
2, 1. You give them a slate.
That's right. I'm ready.
Are we live again? We're live again. We're back. So
Hi, folks.
hopefully the stream, we're having trouble even telling whether or not you guys have been watching a glitchy, messed up stream. But given that there's only 5 people left,
Bear with us for just a moment.
I think that
here.
might be the case. But we are still waiting. The first round started right on time, so I'm surprised to see that this round.
Right. Chris here is a veteran tournament director, and he's done a great job so far of drawing the line, making sure that the tournament starts on time and things happen. So I think something rather unfortunate may have happened upstairs. We'll see what happens. Or it may be that the recorders haven't put it online yet.
We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just step back a little bit. Let's just talk about this whole event. This
Right.
whole, what does this mean? What's the significance of this whole thing? What's this whole weekend about?
Right. And so I think really the most important thing here, and the amateur tournament surely is one of the top that we've ever seen. But really the most important thing that's going on at this event is this is the first time that the semifinals of a professional match has occurred in North America. And it's not just any professional match. This is one of the top purses in Chinese Go.